Now let's get to your free MLB picks for August 21st. In part 2 of 2, we're covering 6 games with a full breakdown on each. Stay with us. First of all, give the video a big thumbs up, hit that like and subscribe button below as we do several free pick videos for you every single day right here on the Doctor of Sports Picks. As usual, visit our channel for the rest of today's game picks and stick around until the end because you won't want to miss out on anything. We begin in Kansas City, where the Royals host the Detroit Tigers at 10 minutes past 8 Eastern this evening. Kansas City sits at 55-74 on the season, but the home split tells a friendlier story. 33-30 at Kauffman Stadium, and 6 wins in their last 10. Detroit arrives at 61-66 overall, a considerably better team on paper, but a distinctly worse one away from home, where the Tigers have gone 29-35. Detroit has also dropped 6 of its last 10. So the shape of this game is a road favorite with better underlying numbers walking into a building where the home side has been steady and is playing its best baseball of the recent stretch. Starting pitching matchup is where the model does most of its work, and it is not subtle. Troy Melton carries a season-earned run average of 1.49, and over his last 3 starts, he has been better still at 0.52. Noah Cameron counters at 4.16 for the year, though he has been sharp lately himself, trimming that to 1.99 across his last 3 outings. That recent Cameron form is the honest counterargument here, and it is a real one. If you weight the last 3 starts equally, this looks close to a coin flip between 2 pitchers in form. The model weights the full season body of work more heavily, and on that basis, the gap is enormous. Behind the starters, the split continues. Detroit's lineup produces 4.54 runs per game against Kansas City's 4.19, and the Tigers allow 3.90 per game to the Royals' 4.97. Bullpens follow the same pattern. Detroit at a 3.78 earned run average, Kansas City at 5.21, which is the single most exploitable number on this board. If this game reaches the 7th inning inside 2 runs, the leverage arms favor the visitors decisively. Park and weather nudge slightly the other way. Kauffman grades at 103 on basic runs scoring with a home run factor of 95, 22 degrees Celsius, wind blowing out at roughly 3 kilometers per hour. That is a mild scoring environment, and a higher scoring game generally compresses the edge a strong starter provides. Add the home field baseline built off Pythagorean expectation, earned run average, and the platoon matchup, and Kansas City still gets its due credit. It is simply not enough to offset a 1.49 starter and a bullpen more than a run and a third better. As our first pick for this matchup, the Detroit Tigers money line is our full game side pick. Moving to Arlington, where the Texas Rangers welcome the Los Angeles Angels at 15 minutes past 8 Eastern this evening. Texas is 63-65 overall and a solid 34-28 at home, but the Rangers have lost 6 of their last 10. The Angels are the worst team by a wide margin at 51-77, and their road record of 22-41 is among the ugliest splits you will find. And yet they arrive with the better recent form, 6-4 across their last 10, which is exactly the kind of divergence that creates price inefficiency. This model likes Los Angeles here for reasons that are narrow but consistent. Reed Detmers brings a 3.78 season-earned run average against Mackenzie Gore's 4.45, and Dietner's has been at 2.00 over his last 3 starts. The Angels also carry the slightly better lineup by rate, 4.14 runs per game to Texas at 4.02, and the marginally better bullpen, 4.28 against 4.34. Those are thin margins, but they stack in one direction. The counterargument is straightforward and deserves respect. Gore has been the sharper pitcher lately at 2.12 over 3 starts. Texas allows fewer runs per game overall at 4.38 to Los Angeles at 4.69, and the home field baseline built from Pythagorean expectation, earned run average, and platoon matchup favors the Rangers. This is a price play, not a talent play. As our first pick for this matchup, the Los Angeles Angels money line is our full game side pick. Total is a cleaner read. The retractable roof in Arlington does not eliminate conditions, it manages them, and at 31.6 degrees Celsius with wind blowing out towards center field at better than 16.5 miles per hour, this profiles as a live scoring environment. Park itself grades essentially neutral at 99 on basic run scoring, with a modest home run factor of 102, so the ballpark is not doing the work here. The weather is. That is the model's single driver on this number, and it produces a double-digit edge. It's honest pushback. Both starters have been considerably better than their season lines recently. Detmers at 2.00 and Gore at 2.12 over their last 3 outings apiece, and neither bullpen is a disaster, with Los Angeles at 4.28 and Texas at 4.34. Those starters give you 5 or 6 efficient innings each. This game never gets to the number. But heat plus wind out is the most reliable weather signal in baseball, and the pricing does not appear to fully reflect it. Our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total of 7.5, is our full game total pick. To Denver now, where the Colorado Rockies host the Cleveland Guardians at 8:40 Eastern this evening. Colorado sits at 50-77, the worst record on this slate, though the home mark of 27-35 is meaningfully better than the overall line suggests. Cleveland comes in at 62-66 with a road split of 31-32, essentially a break-even team away from home. Both clubs are 4-6 over their last 10, so neither arrives with momentum. This is the classic Coors Field problem. A bad home team in a ballpark that flattens the difference between good and bad pitching, playing a mediocre road team that has to navigate an environment nobody navigates well. Start with the starters, because on paper this is a mismatch. Joey Cantillo carries a 3.80 season earned run average and has trimmed that to 3.00 over his last 3 starts. Tanner Gordon counters with a 5.55 for the year, improved to 4.05 recently, but still the clearly inferior mark. Cleveland also owns the better run prevention profile overall, allowing 4.14 per game against Colorado's 5.77, and the better bullpen, 3.89 to 4.81. If you were handicapping this in a vacuum, you would want no part of the Rockies. But this is not a vacuum. Coors Field grades at 113 on basic run scoring and 107 on home runs, the most extreme environment in the league. And tonight it is 26.8 degrees Celsius with wind blowing out at 11 miles per hour. That combination does two things. It inflates variance, and it compresses the value of superior pitching because breaking balls behave differently and gaps play larger. Colorado also scores more than Cleveland does, 4.81 runs per game to 3.96, and a Guardians offense that modest is not a lineup built to bury anybody by a comfortable margin. Specific bet here is not that Colorado wins. It is that Colorado stays inside a run and a half, and the run and a half spread is a fundamentally different question than the money line. Cleveland winning this game is the likely outcome. Cleveland winning it by 2 or more, in a park where a 2-run lead evaporates in a single at-bat, is a much shakier proposition. Counter-argument is real and worth stating plainly. The Guardians are better in every controllable category. The pitching gap is nearly 2 full runs of earned run average, and Colorado's 50-77 record is not an accident. Blowouts happen at Coors precisely because scoring is easy. But the price on the run and a half appears to be treating this as a matchup between a good team and a bad one, rather than a matchup between 2 flawed teams in a ballpark that erases structure. Our first pick for this matchup, the Colorado Rockies to cover the spread as underdogs, is our full game side pick. Before we continue, the complete model breakdown for every pick tonight is on the dashboard, free to browse. Now, back to it. Out to the desert, where the Arizona Diamondbacks host the Cincinnati Reds at 9:40 Eastern this evening. Arizona is the best team in this matchup at 67-61, and the home split is where they make their living, 36-27 at Chase Field. Cincinnati is 61-67 overall and 29-31 on the road. Arizona is 5-5 over its last 10, Cincinnati 4-6, so recent form is close to neutral. Model's case for Arizona laying a run and a half rests on 2 pillars. The first is the home field baseline, built from Pythagorean expectation, earned run average, and the platoon matchup, and Arizona clears Cincinnati on essentially all of it. Diamondbacks score 4.52 runs per game and allow 4.49, a positive differential. The Reds score 4.09 and allow 4.78, a clearly negative one. That is a meaningful gap in true talent, and it is exactly the kind of separation that supports laying the run line rather than money line. Second pillar is bullpen availability, where Arizona's 4.17 earned run average tops Cincinnati's 4.54. The counterargument deserves attention, though. Eduardo Rodriguez owns the far better season mark at 2.71 against Nick Lodolo's 4.52, but the recent trend has flipped. Rodriguez sits at 4.34 over his last 3 starts, while Lodolo has improved to 3.86. Laying a run and a half always demands a margin, and if Rodriguez pitches like his recent form rather than his season line, that margin gets thin quickly. Our first pick for this matchup, the Arizona Diamondbacks to cover the spread as favorites, is our full game side pick. Total leans slightly upward, and the emphasis is on slightly. This is a small edge, roughly 2%, and it is driven almost entirely by park and weather. Chase Field grades at 101 on basic run scoring, essentially neutral, with a home run factor of 91 that actively suppresses the long ball. The wind is a non-factor at under a mile per hour blowing out. What moves the needle is the heat. 32.8 degrees Celsius, which carries the ball even under a retractable roof. Beyond the environment, both bullpens have been ordinary. Arizona at 4.17 and Cincinnati at 4.54, and neither offense is anemic, with the Diamondbacks at 4.52 runs per game and the Reds at 4.09. Sona's counterargument is that a 91 home run factor is a genuine drag on scoring. Eduardo Rodriguez has a 2.71 season earned run average, and Nick Lodolo has been trending in the right direction at 3.86 over his last three. This is not a conviction play. This is a small mathematical lean on a number that appears set a touch low for the conditions, and it should be sized accordingly. Our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total of 8.5, is our full game total pick. Slate in Seattle, where the Mariners host the Chicago Cubs at 10 Eastern this evening. Chicago is the class of this matchup at 74-54, with a 36-27 road split and 6 wins in their last 10. Seattle sits at 68 overall, 33-29 at home, and 4-6 across its last 10. On records alone, this is the widest talent gap on the board outside of Los Angeles. The model's red on the side is that Chicago's offense is the deciding variable. The Cubs score 5.13 runs per game to Seattle's 3.91, a difference of more than a run and a fifth, and that is the single largest lineup separation on this slate. Chicago's bullpen is also better, 3.85 against 4.21, which matters in a game where a lead needs protecting. And the home field baseline, built from Pythagorean expectation, earned run average and platoon matchup, still favors the Mariners, but not by nearly enough to bridge a 14-game difference in records. Now the counter-argument, and it is substantial enough that the edge here is razor thin at under 0.5%. Matthew Boyd has a respectable 4.02 season earned run average, but has been struggling badly at 6.16 over his last 3 starts. Emerson Hancock counters with a 3.30 for the season and 3.57 recently, making him the more reliable arm right now. T-Mobile Park also grades as a pitcher's environment at 94 on basic run scoring, and 17.3 degrees Celsius suppresses offense further. Laying a run and a half in a low-scoring park behind a struggling starter is asking a lot. As our first pick for this matchup, the Chicago Cubs to cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Total is the stronger of the two positions here, and it comes from a straightforward projection. When you combine the starters and the offenses, the model lands on roughly 7.5 combined runs, which sits meaningfully below the posted number. The supporting context is consistent. T-Mobile Park grades at 94 on basic run scoring and 96 on home runs, a genuine pitcher's park. First pitch is at 17.3 degrees Celsius, cool enough to deaden the ball, and while the wind is blowing out at just under 7 miles per hour, the retractable roof limits how much that matters. Seattle's offense has been the weak link all year at 3.91 runs per game, and Emerson Hancock's 3.30 earned run average gives the Mariners a legitimate chance to keep the Cubs in check. The counter-argument is Chicago's bat rack. 5.13 runs per game is a top-tier offense, and Matthew Boyd's 6.16 earned run average over his last 3 starts suggests Seattle may get more looks at hittable pitches than the season numbers imply. If Boyd has another rough outing, this number clears in 6 innings, but the projection gap is wide, and the environment supports it. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total of 8 is our full game total pick. We close in Los Angeles, where the Dodgers host the Pittsburgh Pirates at 10 Eastern this evening. Los Angeles owns the best record on the board at 77-51, is 37-26 at home, and has won 7 of its last 10. Pittsburgh is 63-66 overall, with a 29-34 road split and a 5-5 mark over its last 10. On the surface, this looks like a formality. Underneath, there is one number that complicates the picture considerably. That number is offense. Pittsburgh scores 5.01 runs per game. Los Angeles scores 5.00. These two lineups are, by rate, indistinguishable, which is not what the price on this game implies. Pittsburgh's bullpen also grades out marginally better at a 4.21 earned run average against the Dodgers' 4.02, which is close but does not favor Los Angeles the way most people would assume. Bubba Chandler has been sharp lately, cutting his earned run average to 2.16 over his last 3 starts against a 4.23 season mark. Now the counter-argument, which is enormous and must be stated honestly. Shinobu Yamamoto is the best starter on this entire slate at 2.60 for the season and 1.83 over his last 3 outings. The Dodgers allow 3.87 runs per game to Pittsburgh's 4.77, nearly a full run of separation in run prevention, and a 77-51 team at home is not a coin flip. This is purely a price play on a market that may be overcorrecting for the Dodgers brand. As our first pick for this matchup, the Pittsburgh Pirates money line is our full game side pick. Total leans under, though only marginally, at roughly 0.5% of edge. The environment is the driver, and it is a quiet one. Dodger Stadium grades at 99 on basic run scoring, essentially neutral, and the wind component is negative, blowing in at 0.4 of a mile per hour, so there is no help for the offense from the air. This is 19.7 degrees Celsius with no roof, a cool and stable evening that neither carries the ball nor suppresses it dramatically. Stronger structural support comes from Yamamoto, whose 2.60 season earned run average and 1.83 recent form make the top of this game very difficult to score against, and from a Dodgers pitching staff allowing just 3.87 runs per game. The counter-argument is loud, though. That 99 basic park factor conceals a home run factor of 110, meaning Dodger Stadium plays small for power, and both of these lineups can hit at 5.01 and 5.00 runs per game, respectively. Two bullpens in the 4.0 range are not lockdown units either. This is the thinnest edge on the board and should be treated as such. Our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total of 8, is our full game total pick. And that wraps up the full card for today. If you're new here, hit like and subscribe. We drop fresh picks every single day right here on the Doctor of Sports Picks. Catch you tomorrow.